The darkness is your ally.
Documenting on a small camera like the DJI Nano can feel impossible.
You really adopted the dark.
Especially if you don't have any big
I was
lights.
born in it. Shadows betray you because they belong to me.
The problem isn't that it's dark. You gotta learn to embrace the shadows. So today I'm gonna show you how to vlog at night on the DJI Nano, even on a low budget. Yeah. So let's get this straight. Low light does not mean no light. There's been a lot of really cool cameras that have come out recently that have advertised night mode and, maybe even the ability to shoot in the dark. But let's be clear, your camera sensor absolutely requires light. A film without sound is just a silent film, but a film without light, well, that's just radio. When you're filming during the day, you're chasing golden hour, trying to avoid that midday sun, but at night, you can really embrace the shadows. The main thing you want to do is just find a big source and put it behind your subject. It's really going to help them to stick out from the background, and it's going to mean you don't have to worry about carrying any lighting around. Unless you're out in the woods, there's a pretty good chance that you can find some kind of source to use to light yourself. Now, maybe you don't have any lights on you, but that's okay, because when you realize that you need it, you start to see it everywhere, whether it be structural lights, lights over a parking lot, or even a street light. So just use whatever light is available. You don't have to try to hide it. You simply put the camera on your shadow side, and whatever light's inside your shot is probably gonna help you get a pretty decent image.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Now, if you're gonna film at night, you definitely wanna be cognizant of what you're wearing. Typically, I wouldn't wear this hat because it's felt season, but it's white, and that lighter color helps me to really stick off the background. Now, in this particular shot, maybe it's not obvious, but it's gonna make a big difference when I get into darker areas. Now, in an image like this, we can see the benefits of me having on a lighter color outfit inside of these dark shadows. So if you're getting out to film at night, now's not the time to throw on a black hoodie. This is when you wanna wear your lighter colors. This isn't a fashion choice. Contrast beats brightness any day of the week. And wearing lighter colors in a darker environment is definitely gonna help you to create more contrast. So let's talk about reflective surfaces. Even in a dark parking lot, they're pretty easy to find. It's easy to think when you get out here that if you don't bring lights, there's nothing you can do, but that's actually not true. Now, in this case, it might not seem super obvious, but I'm using the ground because it's reflecting the light back up into the sensor, so it's making me look less dark. Our eyes are gonna be way more sensitive than the camera sensor, so what you see with the naked eye is gonna be a little bit different than what the camera's picking up. All you need is a decently lit parking lot and you'll start to see reflective surfaces everywhere, whether it's the ground or even the wall. Just got caught up in a little bit of rain, but that actually makes things a little bit more interesting because the rain has amplified the amount of light we're getting. So if you're out filming just after it rains, it may be one of the best things that can happen because metal surfaces like this rail become way more reflective, and so do those brick buildings. This year's been really big for me creatively. Not just in terms of the projects I've made, but more so about the processes and what I find important. A large part of that is because the tools have just become so good that you simply just don't need much anymore to capture a really aesthetic image. You used to have a big mirrorless setup or some kind of cinema rig in order to get really nice images or have decent dynamic range. But nowadays, you can shoot some pretty good stuff with just your phone. In this case, I'm using the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, but I also use the DJI Nano. Cameras that are pretty tiny, they weigh almost nothing, and they just get the job done. And because these cameras are good enough, I don't really hesitate to film no matter where I am. So there's really no excuse anymore. But if you really want to overachieve, let's see what we can do with a little bit of lighting. Super cold, could not stay out there any longer. But let's talk about artificial lighting. Now, when it comes to filming at night, I've already shown you that you don't really need anything. But if you want to overachieve and quite honestly, just have a little bit more fun, you can absolutely use artificial lighting. So typically what I use is the Sunfo P13. I have like 5 of these lights, but if I'm going out to film at night, I'm probably just gonna use one. I'm gonna use it just as a fill light. Same principles are going to apply, but this will help me to lighten up some of those shadows. But I've also added a new light, which is the newer RGB flashlight, which is actually this light you're seeing right here. It's just a light that kind of adds visual interest to any image. Let me show you what it looks like without the light. This image is just fine. I'm using a Sunfo P13 over here, and that's it. This is all I have, and this is decent. But I like this light because it just kind of breaks up some of those darker areas. It's based off of a traditional Leica design, so you can zoom in and zoom out focus. You can also throw in a gobo to change the shape of the light. But primarily, I got it just to have an additional light that I can use off camera to light up my background. Sometimes when I'm out filming, if I'm in a darker area, there's just nothing out there. So then I do require additional lighting, but I don't have anything that's really powerful enough to light an entire scene. But this helps as long as I stay pretty close to it. So I have a couple of options in terms of color. It's not full spectrum. You can't go up and down and change your full HSI values, but the standard colors that you need are going to be baked into the light. But for me, in terms of how I create, this is just fine. Like, I'm a real practical guy. I'm not really trying to get in there and just try to make things amazing. I just want them to be good enough. I want it to be fast. I want to be efficient, and I want to have a little bit of flexibility as well. If I'm lucky, a little bit of fun. And this light is going to allow me to do that. When you get outside in the dark, there's just not a lot going on. Now, based on this kit that I currently have, the only thing I'd probably want is probably a more powerful light. Like, the newer RGB light is fine, but I think it's like 8-9 watts or something like that. So you're not getting a ton of intensity out of it. And in fact, let me see how high up it goes. Yeah, now that's full intensity and we're inside. So when you get outside, that light's going to drop off pretty quickly. But if you stay close to it, it'll still get you something when you're outside in the dark. Now, in terms of the P13, there's some really interesting things that it comes with, including this little coupler accessory, which I love because it allows you to put 2 or more of these lights together. And because it's battery powered, full HSI values, you can change your colors. There's some effects in it. Like, it's a pretty robust light, and unbelievably, the light's like 20 bucks. The only thing it doesn't have, I think, is probably app control, which is nice. But for the price and how I'm going to use it, it's a good value. If you take the principles that we talked about earlier and then you combine it with some of this artificial lighting, well, that's when things get real interesting. So if you're looking to make content and you're ready to stop making excuses about available light, you can definitely check out either one of these lights. There's going to be links in the description for both of them. But if not, just use what you have, get outside and use the free stuff.